Hey guys, today I'm out here in the toilet shed, and for the first time in several years, it's mostly empty. Of course, I just left the Santa stands there because they're where I want to keep them, I think. But yeah, I got everything unloaded. The reason I haven't been able to take anything out of here in a while is because while I was away, actually my freshman year of college, my family decided to restack everything out here to try to fit more, and it caused a lot of problems where basically I had to take everything out very carefully to make sure that nothing got broken because it was pretty unstable. But I finally got that done, so I'm gonna give you guys a quick tour of my collection, starting with these guys. Now I apologize if I sound a little weird. I have a cold, and I also just finished getting all of these out, so I am a little bit out of breath as well. But these are my standard Santa stands. This one, of course, is meant for a tank. You can see the tank bolt holes there. I believe this is the one in perfect condition. I can't really see. Yep, you can see the back of the base right there on that one is just a little chipped, but it doesn't hurt anything. And this one actually has a green logo, which is pretty cool. And then here is my flushometer Santa stand, also in very good condition aside from that chip back there, but I'm not too worried about that. And then next up, we just have some lids here, some old pipes from random setups. And actually, this is the back of one of my Kohler Highlines that broke, unfortunately. I uninstalled it and I drained all the water out of it, and so I put it in the shed. But I guess, hold on, let me set this down. I guess some water got into, like, there's an extra cavity inside the toilet and some water leaked in there. It must have been like a manufacturing defect, because normally that hole shouldn't allow water into it. And my other Highline didn't have this problem, but that was the one that already had the broken base. But anyway, yeah, I came back out here and it was broken. That's been a couple years ago now that I figured that out. But anyway, I think that's Mansfield tank down there. I don't know what type of tank that is. I think that came on my Compton bowl, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, moving on, coming out here, here's my yellow Vitrumex in horrible condition. I think it's honestly gotten worse since I made videos with it. It's like spontaneously breaking apart. It's very weird. But here's one of my newer Wellworth light tank, 40s Wellworth tank, Mancessa Preto tank, another 40s Wellworth tank. I think that was on my Elger Ellis. And then that's my new old stock Universal Rundle tank with still the stock tilt valve in there. It actually came with my wall hung Universal Rundle toilet, but it doesn't fit, so it's kind of weird. And then this came with my Briggs Ambassador over there, which is in the toilet graveyard, unfortunately. Here's an 80s Elger emblem that I have. My Orion Toilet. This one, pretty sure we didn't know what this was. I still have no clue what it is, but it looks pretty ugly. The base is kind of weird, and it has that giant siphon jet passage at the front. Here's one of my mini Briggs conservers, crane economizer, and then this is my Vitrumex, I think. I'm pretty sure it has a Vitrumex logo, but it also has Eclipse there, and it also looks exactly like a St. Thomas. So it's one of those contractor toilets, or just a random toilet that a bunch of companies can put their name on as well. Another Briggs conserver here. And then this was another one, I don't think we knew what it was, but I think a couple people were guessing Gerber. I have no clue what it is. Here's my Briggs forward trap toilet, one of my favorites. Don't mind the neighbors, they are redoing their roof. I'm sure they're getting a pretty good show right now. But yeah, this is one of my favorite forward trap toilets that I have, and it's next to my brand new Freshman and my Dexter as well. Both of them are just kind of dirty right now because they've been in the shed for a couple years, but I'm actually gonna clean these two up and they're gonna join the indoor collection pretty soon. Moving on, we have my standard Carimo, I think. Yeah. If it'll focus, there we go. Now on this one, when I got it, it was being used as a flower pot. So the glaze is very, very rough. There's almost no gloss left anywhere on this toilet. But it is still very cool, and it is still one of my favorites. It has a very quiet flush. Very cool design. It's also my only extended lip toilet. Here's my other Kohler Highline. This was the one back when I made those videos that had the broken base. I did repair it. It does work. It doesn't leak, but still it has that crack. It's sad that the other one that was in perfect condition broke instead of this one, but this one is still cool. I'm considering installing this one down in my basement. These are some of my favorite Kohler toilets of all time, so I will definitely be on the lookout for another one of these. Next up is my Canadian Compton. Once again, a little bit dirty. This is the one that I did get from Seco 2000. So this is definitely one of my favorite forward trap toilets that I have as well. I can't imagine there are very many in the United States either, so I try to take pretty good care of this. It looks like I left some water in it at some point, but that's what muriatic acid is for. Very cool design. Here is my Wellworth Light, the best performing toilet that I have in my collection by far. This is actually one of my favorites too. I like toilets where the siphon jet's at the bottom of the trapway. So I think these are pretty cool. Everyone hates on them for their performance, but a lot of toilets have poor performance, and I think it's more about design and the kind of different technologies that go into it. Next up, more bad performers here. Pretty much everything over here. This is a final generation Kohler Trilon. Now this was the first version of this that had the completely flat, straight front. There was one generation before this that had, I'm just gonna quickly run over here. It had a front like on this Trent, where it was kind of angled, and then the first generation looked like that. But this generation still has the triangle jet back there, which eventually they did get rid of it. If you look at my bowling alley Trilon video, it's this exact same toilet, except it doesn't have the triangle jet. The jet was put up into the rim. So I actually prefer this with the triangle jet. So this is one of my favorites. I'm probably going to be installing this in my bathroom, actually. Next up is my Kohler Wellworth Water Guard, first generation water guard. Now, unfortunately, when my family was putting all my toilets in there, they were sliding them all across each other, and they messed up some of these colored fixtures. So far, I only noticed it on this, and also my Wellington, unfortunately. This one definitely got the worst of it though. This is my only black toilet right now. Eventually I'll find another one, but I'm also considering installing this, so this one's in the running too. And then next up we have the same thing, but round. And in almond, I believe is the color. Now the round one, the performance is decent. The elongated one will pretty much clog on anything. Honestly, I'd put these on par with the Kohler Wellworth Light as far as performance goes. The trapways are just very tiny and the flushes are pretty weak, so they don't do a very good job at all. Moving on, my Wellington, which also doesn't have the best performance. You can see some of those little marks, like right here. Unfortunately, those are permanent. Right there as well, little one. This is a very unique toilet, and I'm happy to have it in this color. Very rare. This one is another one that's in the running to get installed down in the basement. Haven't decided yet what I'm gonna do. Next up, we have some commercial fixtures over here. I'll kind of go over these before I go back there, but this is my Kohler Downing, one of my favorite Kohler flushometer toilets of all time. I do really like the simple design. And then pretty much the Kohler primary of the day was just a mini version of the Downing, which is very cool. Someday I am gonna get this seat off. It's just been stuck on here because the bolts are pretty rusted. You can see the similarities there. Both of them have concealed siphon jets. Next up, we have some of my Lynbrooks over here, as well as an Albrook and a Kohler Barden. This is a newer Lynbrook. I don't know if you'll be able to see or not. Yep, there it is, little siphon jet. This is a blowout urinal. This is an older version of it from the 60s, and you might just be able to see the siphon jet back there. It's a little further back. And this is just another one of the newer ones. And then unfortunately, my Albrook suffered the same fate as the Highline, but this one might have been a little bit more on me. I think some water got left in it at one point over the winter when I was in college. I didn't get it put away in time, and it froze. Unfortunately, it did crack, but these are pretty common. I'll find another one of these. I'm definitely a lot more careful about toilets that are harder to replace. Here's my vintage Barden. I also have a newer one that arrived in the mail broken, but I do still have it for no reason at all. It's just something that I have. This is my Mirabelle toilet that I had on a special setup. You can see it up there right beside my Miata. That's the setup that it was on just for this toilet. It's a little bit dirty right now, pretty dusty. And then this is my Universal Rundle wall hung toilet that looks identical to a Glen wall. I don't know if anybody identified the model of this. I'm sure somebody would be able to today, but at the time, this was an unknown fixture when I got it. So let me know for sure if anybody knows what it is. And then right here, I have my 3 Kohler Cayugas. These two have tanks with them. So that one has an identical tank to that. But this one would have had an older style Kohler tank, because this is actually a 1st generation model, and these are both 2nd generation models. You can tell in the curvature of the bottom, you can see that's pretty straight. That's pretty straight down there. And then this one kind of goes down at an angle, then straightens out. And the difference in the flush is these swirl when they flush, and that one has a straight down flush. So I don't know what I prefer. I've always liked these Kohler tanks though, that are shaped like that. They're kind of weird, but I think they're cool. So I might give the point to these guys just because I like the design a little bit more. But anyway, stepping back here, we have just a few of my spud bowls that I have outside, forward trap spud bowls. These are my 2 Gerber. Actually, I don't know what brand this is, but it's the same exact toilet as my Gerber forward trap toilet. Unfortunately, this was another one that suffered from them sliding rough porcelain on glazed porcelain. It has a couple scratches on it, but you know, it could be worse. You can still buy these new, so I'll probably just buy another one at some point. But yeah, these are I'm really happy to have these. These are some of the only forward trap toilets that are still made today, and they've been making them for a while. I bought this one brand new in 2013, and I got this one a couple years ago. This one's actually from 2001. So they've been making this model of toilet for a very long time, over 20 years now, and I don't see any difference. And who knows when they started, probably sometime in the 90s. Next up, my second generation, and I believe this is the final generation of the Kohler Trent. I don't believe they ever went to the style of that Trilon over there. But this Trent suffers from poor performance. I'd say it's more so poor design on Kohler's part, because their washdown or their forward trap toilets act more like washdown toilets a lot of the time, where they struggle to siphon out. Let me see if I can find a logo back here. You can kind of see it, but yeah, this is another one where sometimes it'll siphon out, sometimes it won't. The flush isn't super strong. I do actually have another Kohler Trent. It's just in the house. This is about half of my collection out here. So yeah, but still, it is a pretty cool toilet, and I do like the design a lot. And this is my Elger Andes. And something cool about this is that the logo there is actually pressed into the bowl, and the coloring is like worn away, but you can still see the texture of the logo. I actually think that's pretty cool. So I like the square siphon jet on this, as well as the super swirly flush. I'm not so much a fan of the outer design. It looks kind of weird, but if they threw that trapway and siphon jet onto that Kohler Trent design, I think that'd be really cool. And then finally, my Crane Saxonnet. This is, well, it would be, if it was a perfect example, this would be my favorite forward trap toilet design of all time. But unfortunately, it does have a couple misguided jets, if you guys have seen the videos of this flushing. But this is a forward trap toilet where the siphon jet is closer to being at the bottom of the trapway, and I think that's cool, like I said earlier. And it does have a spout, which I also think is cool. I also am a fan of the smooth rims on these, as well as the Trents. I just think it's a pretty modern design. Looks pretty cool. But yeah, I definitely want to get another one of these at some point that doesn't have misguided rim jets. This one's also one of the ones that flushes straight down. And I'm pretty sure they made a new Saxonnet, or Saxonnet, that had a swirly flush. I'm pretty sure the new in front of those indicates a swirly flush on those, but it was the exact same design, except it had like a super powerful swirl just like this. Those are the ones that I like. I'd like to find one of those someday. Next up, we have my 1940s Kohler collection, starting with, I believe this would be a second trapway style Kohler Trilon. I believe it is. I think this is the first Kohler Trilon that I got. They're all pretty dirty right now because they had water sitting in them for a while. Not much to say about this. Once again, it suffered from Kohler's design flaw, where their forward trap toilets kind of struggle to siphon out sometimes, and they don't have the best performance at all. Probably slightly better than a Wellworth Light, but not by much. These Wellworths, though, they do perform pretty well, and I like the design of these. Once again, smooth rim, very classy design. It's pretty dirty. I actually just sawed the tank off of this one today, so I still need to Dremel off the rest of these bolts there, but I'm gonna get this one cleaned up as well. The tank's just sitting over there. This one, I think this is an older style Trilon trapway. Notice the small siphon jet there and the longer trapway. It's more of an arc compared to this. It's a more round trapway and a much bigger siphon jet. I don't know, just something to notice. I should flip these over and see what the ears are on them. I might do that after I'm done done making the video. I don't remember off the top of my head what the years are. I've made videos of these before though, so if you go back, you can check. Just another Wellworth, identical to that one. This was my first 40s Wellworth. Unfortunately on this one though, the bottom of it, when I got it, it was already broken, and don't mind the wax down there. It looks kind of gross, but yeah, you can see the horn is broken. Oops. That one over there is in perfect condition though, so that's pretty good. This one also has a couple little cracks at the bottom of the trapway. I think they might even just be scratches, but it's whatever. That one's perfect, so that's cool. Here's another Trilon. This one could have even been my first one. I don't know. I know it was one of the ones with the more round trapway. So this one and that one are identical, except the back bolt hole back there for the tank is wide. Like it's more of a notch than just a circular hole. And the water inlet is bigger. If you look at all of these others, you can see it's kind of like a modern Kohler toilet. Even the newer Trilon and the newer Wellworths, even up to the brand new ones, they all have this much larger water inlet on the back for the tank, and this Trilon has a small one. So I don't know, that's kind of weird, but that allows me to put this on flushometer. And now that I think about that, I'm pretty sure this was my first Trilon because I made a video of this on flushometer. But anyway, yeah, that's another interesting difference in those. Next up, we have a couple more forward trappers over here. These are just on tank. My home art with the broken trapway that I had to patch. This was my first forward trap toilet ever, so I'd like to get another one of these that isn't broken at some point. My Crane New Day, a little bit dirty. Still pretty cool. I love this color. I wish I had a matching tank. Someday I'm gonna have to find a matching tank for it. This is my Case Robinson, I think is what it is. Another poor performer. It's very weird. There might be some calcium buildup in the trapway. I haven't really ever run acid through this, but it's kind of weird because the toilet's in perfect condition. The glaze is in really good shape as well. There wasn't any buildup in the siphon jet, so it's kind of weird that there'd be enough buildup in the trapway to cause the performance to be as bad as it is, which is why I kind of think it's probably just the toilet's fault. Very unique case. Often had 4 bolt holes for the tank, and there was a point in time with some of their earlier tank models where they actually only used 1, and it was fastened through the actual flush valve in the tank. It was kind of weird. You'll have to look into that on YouTube if you're interested in finding out more about that. This is my CPCO toilet. I believe that's Chicago Potteries company. Very cheap toilet. You can see it actually only has 2 holes for the flange to connect to the floor, which is pretty rare on forward trap toilets. My Elger Ellis is the same way because it is a little bit newer. And then I don't have any others like that except for my Gerbers because they're newer, you know, because most modern toilets are like that now. But yeah, very cheap toilet. The glaze is almost completely worn off. This is just about the thinnest rim I think I've ever seen on a toilet ever. Like, it's crazy how thin it is. Okay, my phone just died, but it saved the last video, thankfully, so I can just hop back in. But yeah, this does have a super thin rim for no reason. Very cheap toilet, like I said. But moving on to my Elger Ellis over here. This one, it has that same Elger logo. It is pressed in. You can still feel the texture. If you touch it, you can probably kind of see it there on camera, but it's not quite as deep as on the Elger Andes. This one, when I got it, the trapway was broken out of it, but I still got it because I wanted to practice repairing it with just some plaster, and it worked pretty well. I definitely want to get another one of these someday in better condition. I do like the design of these a lot. Moving on, we have my Richmond Phoenix toilet bowl. This one, pretty basic. It has like the trapway of a Kohler Trilon, and then the exterior design is kind of like a cross between a Trilon and a standard Compton. Not really my favorite design ever, but it seems to be a decent performer. I'm gonna go move on to these before we get into the toilet graveyard over there. These are just a couple Kohler Lowboys. That one has wax on a paper towel in there, so I'm not really gonna look in the bowl because YouTube might demonetize me for that. But yeah, this is my Kohler Pumpkin. Love this design. The sun keeps getting in the way, but it's causing my shadow to get on everything, but you can still see. Looks very cool. I like the color too. I believe it's Mexican sand, which is one of my favorite Kohler colors. And then this is just my San Rafael. You guys have seen this on the channel before. Very cool toilet. Moving on, we do unfortunately have the graveyard over here. I hate to say it, but this is my little kid universal Rundle toilet. I forget what the model name of it was. Actually, I believe it was the universal Rundle Clifton. This was another one where I went away to college and I was expecting to have a little bit more time to come back and get everything winterized before everything froze. But unfortunately, this one did break my freshman year, so it's been a couple years now. This one I got out in California. They had two of them at the time. I highly doubt they still have the other one, but maybe. I'll be out there again sometime and I'll definitely check and see if they still have it, and I'll buy it if they do. Moving on, this is a Briggs of some kind. I don't know anything about Briggs model names. I believe this is a Briggs Ambassador, but that is a complete wild guess. This one, the trapway, is also broken out of it. That's how I got it though. That was another one where I wanted to try to repair it. I wanted to practice fixing it up, and I just haven't gotten around to doing that yet. And this is that Kohler Highline that I was talking about. Water actually got, pull it around, there's a channel, or I guess a little cavity under here. Water got in there and froze, and it was just a solid chunk of ice, but water isn't supposed to be able to get in there, so that's why I'm kind of confused how this one broke. And this one was in perfect condition until that, which is very unfortunate. This one had the exact same problem, actually. This is a Home Art. This was my only other Home Art other than that other forward trap toilet over there. Water got in this cavity. You can kind of see under the bowl where that connected. Somehow water got in there and froze and expanded and broke the base off. So I guess these two toilets weren't properly sealed from the factory, but it's kind of unfortunate. These are pretty common though, so I'll be able to find another one of these at some point. You can kind of see into the trapway there. The only reason I'm keeping all of them is so that I can use them to 3D model versions of them for my website, and just to have a 3D model. Moving on, this one's very, very sad. This is my Kohler Bolton in, I'm not sure the name of this blue, but it's a very nice blue. This was another one of those where I went to college. It was left outside. I thought I had more time to come back and get everything winterized, but unfortunately it did freeze while I was gone, and I did a dissection on it so that I'd be able to see all of the internals to help try to replicate it. And I haven't gotten around to doing that yet, but I did get very detailed pictures during the process. You can see the two siphon jets back there. The water comes in, it goes up through holes up there, up into the rim, and that feeds the rim. Or it just comes down this channel here, into there, and then it comes out these two holes back there, and those are the siphon jets. That's the mouth of the trapway, so it comes up, goes around, down, and then it comes out down there. So it is a very good model to look at now that it's all broken, but it is very unfortunate. This was one of my better performers and one of my favorite toilets in my collection. But who knows, maybe one day I'll find another one. We'll see. Moving on. This is my old toilet testing shed. I'm sure there are lots of wasps and things that lived in here during the summer, but I just use it to store some of my tanks. I don't think there's really anything else in there, but I'll actually go into the garage now and show you a little bit more of my collection in just a second. Oh wait, I forgot this one over here. This is, I had no clue what it was until today. It looks like it's almond, but actually it was just painted. It has acid in it right now. That's why there's stuff running down it. But that's the brand. Derek Foremost, I believe is what that is. And this one came with a high tank that I'll show you guys in the garage. But unfortunately, also while I was away at college, my sister and her friends went back into my garage storage room and knocked it over. And I got a text from my sister that said, "Hey, I accidentally knocked over one of your toilets." And I was concerned because that's where I keep all of my nice ones. But luckily, this was just in there at the time, and this happened to be the one that she did knock over. This is just a basic front flusher. If you guys have ever wondered what the trapways look like inside of these, let me see if I can get this box off of here. There it is from the side. And yeah, they painted it. I only found that brand today by accident because the paint started peeling off, and I was just pulling it off, and there was the logo. But yeah, you can't really see the trapway, but it is just a front flusher. Nothing too crazy. All right, here I am in the garage. This is the old clay room, and I'm currently cleaning it out. So none of this stuff's permanent in here anymore. But yeah, there's a lot of mini toilet like mold stuff in here. Some of my tank lids are in here. This is from, if you guys remember that old Sears toilet dissection video, I kept part of the base, and that's it right there. But anyway, this is my, I don't remember the year, looks like 40s, maybe 50s. This is my standard Devoro Baby because the name was actually flipped back then. Now it's the Baby Devoro, but back then it was the Devoro Baby. But you can see it literally just looks like a mini version of the standard Devoro of the time. And underneath my car's floor mats, my Elger Silenta. I'm not gonna show too much of that. You guys have seen that. It's in videos on the channel. I'm just gonna leave that stuff there. And then this is part of a toilet of my own design. This is actually, if I can get this out, it's a full-size 3D print of the front of one of my models. And it was actually gonna flush and everything, but I discontinued work on that when I got pretty busy with school. Maybe someday I'd come back and work on something like that again. But who knows? Next up we have a standard Modernist. This is my newer one. And then a standard Compton. And underneath there you can see a second generation standard Cadet. And then this is in here. These two just got dropped off from one of my other places that I was staying. I had a house like an hour away from here with a couple roommates, and they just dropped these off. This is my Zern, whatever the model name is on this. This one probably won't be staying in here. But this is my brand new, well, I should say new old stock black Kohler Freshman. Definitely one of my favorite fixtures that I have. And then another new old stock urinal. This is an older American Standard Trimbrook, which I'd never seen one of these until I got this one. Pretty interesting. And then of course a newer, new old stock American Standard Trimbrook as well. These two are probably going to stay in the garage. The Freshman is actually going to join my indoor like house collection. Here's my Kohler Placid and an American Standard Jetbrook, and my Standard Madstone is here as well, and my American Standard Baby Devoro. I think the year on that's 1966. This is the tank that came with that foremost toilet. And then here's my Elger emblem tank, second generation Cadet or Compton tank. It came with my Cadet. And then here's the tank for the Bolton. That broke as well in the cold, unfortunately. Then vintage Kohler tank, and then my old Crane tank, and then a bunch of just really old clay toilets that I made as well. I have a couple containers of mini toilets in here too that I never made videos of. A couple molds and mold pieces. This is for a wash down toilet. You can kind of see the cutaway that'd go on the bottom, and there was still this top piece. And then you put those together and you make a wash down toilet. And I have a couple failed versions of that over here. I wasn't using actual proper plaster for molds or anything, and I wasn't using proper slip either, so a lot of my early attempts did not end up successful. But you can see here's that's what the trapway looked like. And here's the outside. The holes weren't punched back there, but yeah, they would have been fully functional. This one, oh, I can't really get it out of there, but you can see the holes are punched in the back. That one, the outlet hole is, but I'll come out here into my garage. Oh, this is the pipe that came with the foremost toilet. Out here, it's a little bit dirty because we are moving everything around. I just brought a bunch of stuff out of the clay room. My printer is working. Don't mind my sister's art. But yeah, it's printing the tank lid for this mini Wellworth, or I should say mini Ingenium. But yeah, that's pretty much my whole collection. I'll come back in the clay room. This is everything in here. I do have more in the house, but I'm not going to go in the house right now because I'm reorganizing everything like I said. And I'll make another video probably when I get everything where it's going to end up. You can see all of these toilets are just sitting right out there. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, definitely leave them below. If you have any suggestions for what I should install in the house, let me know. And hopefully I'll be doing some more test videos soon. But if you have anything specific you want to see, comment that too. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.